WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. There are new developments tonight in a weekend shooting death here in Columbus. A teenager is charged with murder, accused of killing another teenager this past weekend at a Sweet 16 party. Our Quentin Smith is live at the Lowndes County Jail with the very latest.
Scott, 17-year-old Curtis Lathan is behind bars here at the Lowndes County Jail, charged with the murder of 16-year-old Erica White. Now, this incident, it rocked this entire community. What was supposed to be a fun time celebrating a birthday ended with a tragic death. Only our cameras were rolling when 17-year-old Curtis Lathan was transported from the Columbus Police Department to the Lowndes County Jail. Investigators believe the teenager is the alleged gunman that shot and killed 16-year-old Erica White. The arrest stems from an incident that happened this past weekend outside the Community Activity Center at Probst Park. On Saturday, a large crowd gathered together for a birthday party, but then things suddenly took a turn for the worse. Sources tell WCBI White was an innocent bystander when gunfire rang out after an argument broke out. Lowndes County Coroner Greg Merchant says White died at the scene of the incident. On Tuesday, the Columbus man appeared before a judge but was denied bond due to the seriousness of the crime. Police Chief Fred Shelton released a statement after the arrest was made. It reads in part, "I want to thank those people that have cooperated and helped us with this investigation. Our investigation into this case continues, and we ask the public to continue to contact us with information." End quote. The shooting has now prompted city leaders to implement new security measures at all city-owned venues. Mayor Robert Smith says city facilities will now be equipped with security cameras, increased police patrols, and enforcement of proper operation hours. Now, Lathan was booked here at the Lowndes County Jail around 6 o'clock this afternoon. This murder investigation is still ongoing. If you have any information on this incident, you're asked to give the Columbus Police a phone call. And remember, you can remain anonymous. Of course, we're going to continue to follow this developing story and bring you the latest details as they become available. But for now, reporting live in Columbus, Quentin Smith, WCBI News.
A 22-year-old Fort Worth, Texas man is charged with murder in the shooting death of Ole Miss student Alexandria Alex Costial of St. Louis. Brendan Thiesfeld made his first appearance in Lafayette County Circuit Court this morning. Costial's body was found in Harmontown Saturday by a deputy on routine patrol. The Lafayette County Sheriff's Department released a statement that there was apparent foul play. WLBT reports that she suffered 8 gunshot wounds. Bond for Thiesfeld has not yet been set. He's still in custody. Now, the online news site hottytoddy.com reports that he was a business student at the University of Mississippi and has since been suspended from the university. The Ole Miss student's death has left the entire town of Oxford saddened and stunned, wondering how something like this could happen in their small community. Our Riley Livingston talks with some residents and has more.
This street in Oxford is a hot spot for college students on the weekends, and it's the last place Allie was seen. Buford's Ridge is about 30 miles north of Oxford, and this is where a Lafayette County Sheriff's deputy found Allie's body.
Shock, because Oxford is usually like a pretty nice and peaceful town. You know, it's a college town and it's a lot of fun, and when you hear something like this, it kind of, shakes up the community a little bit. So
shock. The word many people in Oxford are feeling after finding out Ole Miss student Allie Costial was killed.
We don't have a lot of, going on around here. Usually that's bad crime and stuff, so not like the cities, usually we have pretty peacefulness. Usually here you got all the amenities of the city without the crime and stuff. Usually this kind of stuff doesn't usually happen. So
the residents we talked to are hopeful Costial's family can find comfort that an arrest was made in the case.
Start the process for justice, I guess, for the family. I'm sure they're, get some, I don't know if you can get closure from that, but some kind of, peace maybe, I don't know.
I was actually kind of relieved and glad that the family could at least get some sort of sense of, closure about the situation. So it's a good thing that they did make an arrest. So
the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department has released few details about the investigation, leaving many to wonder what happened to the St. Louis native that was taking summer courses on campus.
It's pretty crazy, especially the way it from what they say, had happened and shots fired. I mean, that's brutal.
The Lafayette County Sheriff's Department is still investigating Allie's murder, and we will continue to bring details as they become available. For now, reporting in Lafayette County, Riley Livingston, WCBI News.
Such a tragic story there. In other news tonight, federal agents are calling in one of the largest methamphetamine distributors in North Mississippi. Federal court filings say Jeremy Meredith runs a widespread operation focusing on Lee County and surrounding areas. Agents tracked Meredith and others on flights to California to buy drugs and shipments from Sacramento to Meredith's home on Texas Avenue in Verona. He faces a federal court hearing later this week. Time now to get a first look at our forecast. We'll send things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Hey there, Keith.
Hey, Scott, what a great day we had. Some of these friendly cumulus clouds across our region. This is our time lapse from Tupelo with our Alpha Insurance camera looking to the east. And with the clouds going from left to right across their screen, that was a northerly breeze, which has currently subsided in Starkville. But look at that temperature, 68 degrees here on our Tuesday evening. Well, not too bad here, upper 60s in most spots right now. Lows down to around 60, maybe a few upper 50s too. So this is one of those nice, open up the windows, air things out while you can. Now tomorrow we will be sunny and warm. Highs will be in the low to mid 80s during the afternoon. A nice and refreshing start, and tomorrow evening's looking great too. You may want to keep the AC on during the heating of the day, but overall humidity stays in check here for our Wednesday wall-to-wall sunshine. Your full forecast in just a few minutes.
Planned deportation raids ordered by the Trump administration have begun, but so far the results have been underwhelming. Of the more than 2,000 migrants targeted, only 35 have been arrested. 18 of those had final deportation orders. The other 17 were swept up in the raids. CBS's Adriana Diaz has more on what's slowing the process.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement has arrested less than 2% of the 2,100 targeted in its sweep that began earlier this month. It's called Operation Border Resolve, and it's directed at families with deportation orders. A key reason, according to ICE officials, is that activists had time to plan for the highly publicized crackdown, which was announced ahead of time by President Trump. Activists informed and documented immigrants of their rights and stepped in to intervene. On Monday in Nashville, when local residents saw their neighbor being targeted by ICE, they formed a human chain around his van, allowing him and his son to run into their home. Others readied themselves like this man, who barricaded himself in his own home. According to ICE Acting Director Matthew Albence, some agents were even under surveillance, which also impeded arrests. Despite only 35 people taken into custody so far, President Trump praised the effort last week.
The ICE raids were very successful.
Deportations during President Trump's first 2 years in office are down roughly 40% compared to President Obama's first 2 years. In Chicago, activist Cecilia Garcia handed out flyers.
I think it would have been more if we had not raised the awareness to the community.
ICE has made 899 arrests in the last 2 months. And as for Operation Border Resolve, ICE's acting director says he does not believe any families have been separated during arrests. That operation is ongoing. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Chicago.
A state-of-the-art justice complex will soon open up in Clay County. The 27,000 square foot complex will have 3 courtrooms. One of those courtrooms can seat 115 people. The Justice Court can hold 150. Sheriff Eddie Scott says security in the new facility is something else that will be better to make sure employees and visitors are safe.
I'm excited for the security. The court security is a major concern. As sheriff, I'm in charge of courthouse security, and it's hard to do when the conditions we've been having to work in, but we've managed to get it done. But this is going to make it a lot easier. I think the public's going to notice that when they come in.
There will be an open house in August. The first court hearing is happening in October. The cost of the new facility was $2.7 million.
We can just about turn the Doppler radar off. We're not going to do that, but we can turn it off for the next couple of days. Nice and quiet weather has returned. The full forecast is next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Here's our Alpha Insurance Camera Network: Columbus, Tupelo, Vernon, Durham's Pharmacy, Louisville. We showed you that a few seconds ago. Friendly clouds during the day. A great sunset there this evening in Louisville, everywhere else too. So we've really enjoyed a fantastic turn of events with temperatures now cooling down into the upper 60s in most spots, lows into the low 60s. And tomorrow, low to mid 80s across the board, as we mentioned earlier. Tomorrow night, low 60s again. And tonight and tomorrow night, some of you may actually get into the upper 50s and mid to upper 80s for our Thursday. Lots and lots of sunshine. 10.22 inches of rain so far this year, or so far this month of July in Tupelo, the fourth wettest July on record. Now let's talk about the year in general. We have had a lot of rain here, and we're actually 98% of average for the year in Tupelo, 110% of average in Starkville. So if we never get another raindrop in Starkville for the next 5 months, we know we are going to be above average for the year precipitation-wise. These are the numbers we've had so far. This is the yearly average. This is the percent of average, and it's just been an incredibly wet year. We need a lot of moisture in the air to produce the rain. Now, the dew point is going down, and that means drier air is coming on in. So that means no rain anytime soon. The rain we had yesterday along and south of that frontal boundary that is now moving into the northern Gulf of Mexico. We have high pressure coming on down, and that high is going to control our weather. Starry skies out there. Look at that. A fantastic night for stargazing across the region. That was a view over there in Lamar County not too long ago. So get away from city lights. Go out there tonight, soak up this great air mass that is in place, and it stays with us tomorrow. Bright sunshine, low humidity, winds from the northeast 5 to 15, highs somewhere in the low to mid 80s locally, mid to upper 80s farther south, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama. Not too shabby here for our Wednesday. Keep in mind the average right now in the low 90s. The heat index should be into the triple digits. It's been that warm so far this year, but tomorrow nice little reprieve from the heat, and we'll likely extend that into your Thursday too. So here's the big picture with Futurecast. High pressure will control our weather. Yeah, we may see a few friendly clouds tomorrow and Thursday, but no rain-producing clouds. And by the time we get into the weekend, our winds will become more southerly with time. The moisture will start to creep back up in here, so our rain chances will start to go on up. Maybe 20% Saturday. Most of us will stay dry. So really the next 4 days we're dry. Overnight lows comfortable in the near term. Warm days. By the weekend, highs around 90. Better pop-up storm chances by Sunday and early next week.
Volunteers building at least 100 beds for kids this week. We'll have that story coming up on WCBI News.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. An organization that provides a variety of services for families across the region is partnering with local churches to meet a huge need for many families. Riley Martin explains.
At a wood workshop in Union County, volunteers are hard at work making beds for kids.
We are doing a 100-bed build this week. We need the 100 beds to get us ahead.
Stanley Huddleston is pastor of Mount Olive Baptist Church and is also faith-based coordinator with the Family Resource Center. Pastor Huddleston discovered many families coming to the FRC for assistance lacked one thing many people take for granted.
They needed beds for their children. We couldn't find a resource anywhere close that was providing that need, so we decided to see if we could do that ourselves.
Mount Olive partnered with a church in Madison that already had a bed building ministry, and Beds for Kids began in northeast Mississippi. This is how the beds look once they're finished, and they're delivered to the families just like this. It costs about $60 to make the beds, and a lot of the materials are donated. Pastor Huddleston says they can always use more donations and more volunteers.
They're always so thankful to get the help and just so glad that someone cares enough about them to do that. And we want our churches to be involved in that so that it's just meeting a real need in their community.
Volunteers say they are blessed to play a role in ministry that meets a basic but critical need.
First, we're giving them a gift. But then, we tell them it comes from Jesus. It's a gift. It's just part of love and loving one another.
I know I've worked with Frontline with DHS before, and usually some of the things that they work for is getting beds for all of their kids in order to get their kids back. So, and a lot of the times the parents can't afford that, so we're here for the families, really. Not just for the children, just for the families as well.
Volunteers expect to make more than 100 beds this week as part of the mission's emphasis. In Union County, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
To learn more about beds for kids, we'll have a link over on our website, WCBI.com. The high school football tour continues on in Hatley. More from the Tigers coming up next.
Here's sports on WCBI.
The high school football tour officially hits the halfway point. For stop number 30, we're stopping on our first group of Tigers this week in Hatley. This year, the Tigers simply want to strive for more.
WCBI's 60 Schools in 60 Days is brought to you by Sparklight.
It's the season of tenacity for the Hatley Tigers.
Be your absolute best, in whatever it is you do, whether you're in the weight room, whether you're on the field, or the court, or in the hallway, be your absolutely best. And if we can get them to do that, everything else takes care of itself.
That includes what happens on the gridiron. The Tigers return an experienced bunch from last season and have set the standard high right out of the gate.
I think the bar is high as we can set it. I think we can be all the way at the top. And I think if we don't do the right thing, then we'll be all the way at the bottom. But we got to do the right thing.
I really want to win a lot more games than we have been here the past few years. And I think we have the talent this year to do it, and we have a lot of potential.
The potential has been nurtured over the course of the past 2 seasons by Coach Adams. Before, for the Tigers, the challenge was focused on coaching turnover. Now under Adams, they know the drill and can focus strictly on the game.
But the past 3 years with him, it's been great, He's been out here pushing us to be our best every day.
He definitely drives us hard every day and definitely has the right mindset for us and helps us push through to be the best that we can be.
Big benefit because we know what to expect now instead of changing over and over every year, and it's a lot better than it has been.
Something Adams has worked to instill in his team's mind is the importance of practices day in and day out.
Understanding what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is about. Because by the time you get to Friday, you either done it or you haven't. And, if I could get our guys to understand that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is more important than really honestly Friday becomes, because if you don't prepare correctly, it doesn't matter what happens on Friday.
We got to come back on Monday, starting Mondays through Thursdays, walkthroughs, ready for the game, and we got to do things right.
A new season for the Tigers begins against Hamilton on August 23rd. With Hatley on the high school football tour, Courtney Robb, WCBI Sports.
60 Schools in 60 Days with Hatley High School was brought to you by Cleveland Moffitt Funeral Home, Holloway's Body Shop, and Monroe County Farm Bureau.
The accolades continue rolling in from Mississippi State's Darrell Williams as he's been named on the Outland Trophy watch list. The Outland Trophy honors the nation's top interior linemen. Other honors Williams has garnered this offseason include being named on the Remington Trophy watch list, which goes to the nation's top center, second team All-SEC, and second team All-America by Lindy Sports. The Outland Trophy winner will be announced on December 12th. 2 Bulldogs have been named to the Bronco Nagurski Award watch list, which is given to the nation's top defensive player at the end of the season. Junior defensive back Cameron Dantzler and junior linebacker Errol Thompson are 2 of the players featured on the list. The Crimson Tide feature 4 players as well, including former Meridian Wildcat Raekwon Davis and preseason first team All-SEC linebacker Dylan Moses. College hoops is on the horizon. Mississippi State men's basketball releases its non-conference games for the upcoming season. Some notable matchups for the Dogs include a home opener November 5th against Florida International. Then November 8th, another home game against Southland Conference champion Sam Houston State. MSU also takes on Louisiana Tech in the Hump on December 5th. Then two other big-time matchups for the Dogs. December 14th, they take on Kansas State in New Jersey. And December 22nd, State plays two-time defending WAC conference champs and 30-game winner New Mexico State at the Coliseum in Jackson. That's all we have for sports. We'll have more coming up after the break.
On Easy Street right now, Scott. Great weather.
That's how we like it.
I know, it's been busy, wet, humid, stormy for weeks and weeks and weeks. And finally, we can get a little respite here in the weather department. We were just talking about how busy it's been. And I love this kind of weather because it means I don't have to do much for selfish reasons.
It's given me a bit of a glimpse into, October.
Oh, I know.
I know we said earlier football season. It'll be here before we know it.
I'm actually just sitting over there making some new football graphics here. And the weather is appropriate for that.
And we like it. So we're going to hope that this weather continues or will happen during football season.
Oh, let's hope.
We'll see you tomorrow.